I think that was really helpful for me to know and have at the beginning of my career, because now, of course, I listen back to pieces and I'm like, oh God, the sound quality, oh this, that, why would I say that? That's so cringy, da, da, da. But one is like it contains your spirit and your energy at that time, and that's usually like the first tries will be more authentic. If you keep changing something, you're going to lose it. I'm going to clown school this month, so that's one thing. It's so hard to explain, but yes, I will explain. So honored that you'd put comedian in.
I really wanted to, because I was thinking, I don't know you like that, so I don't know if you're going to be offended. I never saw comedian in any bio or anything.
Say it in your nice presenter voice. She's a comedian. I will get that recording. I will just play it in my ears at night.
Hello, Voices. I'm Joe Troy, and welcome to a VOICEOVER'S audio adventure, a bi-weekly podcast where we talk voiceover, audio, and everything in between. My guest today is an audio producer, artist, and community organizer. She's worked with the BBC, iHeartRadio, Roundhouse, and more. Please welcome to the show, Talia Augustidis. Hello.
Hi, Joe. Oh my God, you have such a good voice for that intro. I feel really self-conscious about mine now.
Don't be silly. Don't be silly. Whenever I speak to guests on the show, I always try to think about where I first came across them. And for you, I can't actually remember. All I know is that I followed you like a weirdo online for a while now. But I think I first came across you because you had a list or something like that you used to post out. And I'm always crawling on the internet looking for resources and stuff like that. And you came up. And thank you for that list. It has helped.
You're welcome.
But I wanted to know, what brought you into the audio world? Like, what was the first thing that was like, oh, I want to be a part of this?
Yeah. Oh, it's hard to pinpoint exactly when, but I think it happened when I was about 18 and I was going to university and studying English literature and not really loving it, to be honest. I think 18 is just a hard year for everyone, going, what am I doing? Where am I? Who am I? And I would miss a lot of lectures, which I don't recommend. And instead of listening to my lectures, I would sort of lay in my bed and just listen to This American Life. And I basically, I discovered it around that time, and I just listened to almost all of the back catalogue. And at that point, I think they had 800 episodes. So I would just do that instead. And I was just like, whoa, what the hell is this? I'd never really come across audio storytelling or journalism before. And then I just went down a big rabbit hole of like, then Radiolab, then The Heart, then all of these different Love and Radio, all of these different things. But I never thought I could make it until a friend who knew I listened to a lot sent me this course at our university called Making Audio Documentaries with someone called Nina Garthwaite. And I basically emailed until they let me onto that course. And the rest is history, really. I made my first piece. It went on to go on to the BBC, and then it kind of started from there, and I didn't look back.
Was that the piece that was like a personal documentary that was from Content is Queen? Was that part
That's
of the
a different one.
That was a different one. Okay.
Similar subject. That one was called The Sound Collector. And it was the first piece I made, and it went on to the BBC because it won the Charles Parker Prize.
Okay.
And then they broadcast 5 of the winners. And then I went on off the back of that to apply for the Content is Queen grant on a similar subject, like an extension, and made Dead Ends with Content is Queen and Falling Tree.
Do you feel like your English lit degree helped you in any way?
I think it definitely helped me to know what I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
But also, yes, definitely. Like, can I swear?
Of course you can.
Yeah, I shit on it a lot. But it also did, I think, being analytical. Obviously, there's a writing element, there's a reading element, there's like a taking in of media, analyzing it. What does this mean? So it definitely did. And I always loved reading. I think I just was so terrible at writing essays. It's actually funny. My tutor said to me when I sent him the piece, he said to me, we were quite close at that point because we bonded over how bad I was at writing essays. And he said to me, I'm so glad you found something you're finally good at. And I was like, thanks so much. So yeah, I'm glad I did it. I wouldn't have done anything else, but it did help in both making me realize I didn't want to be an academic or couldn't be an academic, and making me realize, I love language and words and all of those things.
So listening back to your first documentaries that you did, how would you change them now? And if you would change them, like how?
Oh, I think you'd always change things, right? There's so many things. Actually, interestingly, with the first one, I made it, and then a year later, it won the prize, and we got the opportunity to change it. And so much had changed for me in that year. And I was like, I know how to better narrate now. I know how to better write. I can do this. I can do that. But actually, the person, my mentor, Simon Elms, was like, do not touch it. Don't change it at all.
Yeah.
It's perfect how it is. And I didn't believe him. I actually complained. I was like, I feel like he's fobbing me off. I feel like he's too busy. I know it's not perfect because I have more skills now, and I know it's not. And he sent me a lovely, very long email being like, no, I wasn't just saying this because I couldn't be bothered. I really think that there was like an energy that you had in that first go that if you redid it, it might be like shinier, it might be cleaner, it might be better, but it would lose that spirit. And actually, I think that was really helpful for me to know and have at the beginning of my career, because now, of course, I listen back to pieces and I'm like, oh God, the sound quality, oh this, that, why would I say that? That's so cringy, da, da, da. But one is like it contains your spirit and your energy at that time, and that's usually like the first tries will be more authentic. If you keep changing something, you're going to lose it, and it's also not going to be of a time and place. I think the lovely thing about publishing something is that, you know, you can't change it, and you're like, this is it, and this is a marker of me at that time. And
100%.
we change, like people change, and that's okay. And that there's this lovely quote by someone who I can't remember. I think it's Hanif. I can't remember. But anyway, he talks about how like a lot of artists basically shit on their past work, and they say, like, oh no, I'm better now. And they try and separate themselves from that work. But actually, that's quite cruel. And it was your past work that let you get to where you are now. You are not separate from that. You are a product of that. And so we shouldn't disrespect our past selves and our past art. And I think those two things I carry with me, and I try and like acknowledge that of course I would change things because I have changed, but that doesn't mean it's
do you know what, it's so weird that we're like that as human beings, because I'm a hypocrite where I'm like, I wouldn't change anything because I wouldn't be here now. But at the same time, when I do listen back, I'm like,
apart from this, and
this. It's so weird that we're like that. Like we always want the new version of ourselves, and I guess that's in life. We always want a new version of whatever. So
100%. Yeah.
It's just interesting. I wonder if that's consumerism or it's just the way we're programmed. I do not know why. Maybe we can make a documentary about it.
Yeah, maybe we can, and you can narrate it and be like,
I will.
Why do we think like this? Yeah, I think it helps us to like wake up and believe that we are the best version of ourselves now, even if you know there's self-doubt, and even if that's not true. It's helpful. It helps us get on with the day, maybe. Sorry.
What kind of projects do you enjoy making most?
Oh, that's a good question, and one I should know and have thought about. I really like projects where there's a lot of tape to like existing tape to dive into. So a recent project I made was with a clown called Julia Masley, who's amazing and has this show that she recorded all the shows from the past 3 years and it was her interacting with audiences. And so when we came to work together, I had like, hundreds of hours of recordings that I got to sit down and listen to, which is laborious, but that is my idea of a good time. It's like just sitting and listening to tape and waiting for your body to react and be like, oh, that made me laugh, or oh, that hurt, or that made me sad, or whatever. Like, I think that is really, and that's what happens in interviews too. You're doing that live, and so it's harder. But yeah, I actually prefer to react to things than to go out and do them and get them and do the work, which is, maybe I'm a lazy producer. But if there's ever an archive, I'm like, yes, this is archival things are a dream.
So would you say you lean more to the researching side? Obviously, I know you can do everything, but do you enjoy the researching side more than the production side, or would you say?
I wouldn't say research, because it's not like, some people are good at like digging and going like that and stuff. And I like that too, like once I get down a rabbit hole, but it's more like the production side of the listening phase where you don't need to make a complete program yet. Anything can be possible, but you're just like listening through tape, which I think is more exciting when it's not tape you recorded. Like when it's tape I recorded and then I'm re-listening back, it feels like a chore. I'm like, oh, I was there. I don't know. My body like avoids listening to tape when it's tape I recorded. And often my pieces are very personal. And so I think it's probably a bit of like, I struggle to make personal pieces, which is funny because that's a lot of what I make.
I've noticed that.
But like, so when I like have these tough interviews with my family, I'm like, the last thing I want to do is to listen to it and edit it. So I think it's really nice when they're just like, for example, I didn't end up making this documentary, but I worked on it with a producer called Leo Hornack. He had all of this archive from these cave divers from like 20 years and asked me if I'd just go through and log the tape. And it was amazing. Like all of these different interviews, and just he was like, flag anything interesting. And it was just like all the neurons in my brain were like, so it was actually so hard for me because all I wanted to do after that was make the documentary, but it was like his. And so I was like, this feels like painting a nursery for a child that I will never like get to meet. And it was really actually hard, but I love doing it. So I think I love the like listening and discovery part, as long as I haven't done the recordings. But it's hard. It's hard to find, good archives. That's every producer's dream, but they don't just like sit there most of the time. Yeah.
What do you listen to a lot of podcasts, or do you watch a lot of documentaries, or just content in general? Like where do you spend your free time?
I listen to a lot, so I'm going to show you something now. I've started sewing.
Oh, wow.
I've recently learned something called smocking, which is when you can make a pattern, like just by sewing in a certain pattern.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, whatever. It takes fucking forever, but it is a really good thing to do while listening. And so the past, like, few evenings and stuff, I've just been like this and listening to audio. But I listen to a lot of stuff. Still not as much as I would like to, and I go through phases of like really listening, and then maybe months where I don't listen to anything. I think as artists, it's probably to do with like whether we're creating or taking in, like we go through different phases. But because I run the London branch of something called In the Dark, which are these listening sessions, that's been really good for me to have a motivation to listen, to be like, I really want to discover things. I want to bring them to people, and I want to find things for my own work and be inspired. And so, I do try and listen to a lot of stuff, whether it like even from Chatcast to all the way to like obscure sound art.
Where do you find this stuff? Because audio, even though we are inundated with so much podcasts, it's still very hard to find the documentaries and the more artistic side of things, I feel.
100%. 100%. It definitely is. There's no like archive. There doesn't exist like really an archive that's dedicated to, even when I try and explain within audio, people don't really understand like the kind of stuff I like to make, which is like sound rich,
Yeah.
emotional, story led, but often non-narrative. Like it's like it's a niche within a niche, and I don't think
Yeah.
the spaces exist for it. One place that is like a gold mine is the Third Coast. Third Coast are an awards series, and so they have all the winners from the past like 20 years, but also they did loads of interviews with different makers and included a lot of their pieces, and it's quite hard to navigate. It's not like the user experience isn't great, but you could literally type in, if you're like, I want something about, I don't know, guinea pigs, you can type into the search bar guinea pigs and something
Yeah.
will come up. And so that's been like an amazing resource when I'm just like, oh, what do I want? What do I feel like I'm in the mood for? Also transom.org, like they have a lot of interviews with
Okay.
makers who will often mention pieces. And then often I'll just find a show where I'm like, okay, I've never listened to this show, but people say it's good, or I've heard like people mention it from like a show from like 10 years ago or something, which in radio is like ancient history. Like no one listens to
Yeah.
that anymore. We don't have a memory. And I'll just listen to the whole show back to front. And then
Yeah.
I've got a big list of like every piece I've ever enjoyed for the past maybe 2 years. And I just put it in there because otherwise I also don't have a memory. Like I will forget. Like ask me if I've ever read a book. I can't remember one. Like
Oh yeah,
they're
100%.
gone.
Yeah.
Characters
Yeah.
gone. Maybe a bit of
God.
plot line, but like it
Yeah.
doesn't
I'm like
exist.
that.
And so,
Yeah.
and so it's been really good to like actually have a log of these things so that one, I don't forget it, and two, that like it is not forgotten. But I could really go into this, and it's kind of boring and niche.
Go for it. Go for it.
But even like a lot of even of 2 years, some of those pieces I click on the link, it doesn't exist anymore. And I think the problem is we think that media is forever because we were told like, oh, the internet is forever. Anything that's on it will stay there forever. And that seems to be only true for like nudes that you don't want to exist, because everything else like doesn't stay on the internet. It's so annoying. And it's like,
it is.
and there's no like good
This
way.
website does not exist. This link does not
Exactly.
exist. It's like, that's happened. I've even gone on places like the BBC, and there's
Exactly.
it's like
And
it's
you can't get
timed
to
out,
it.
so you can only watch it for like a year or two, and it's like
Exactly.
But
I've
can
had
go
to
and look at a
just
story from 1985 about some random dog in some field somewhere. Like it doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. And I've had to just like message random producers and be like, do you know who produced this piece?
Yeah.
Because I want to hear it. And most of the time they're like, yeah, it was me. And then they send it to me. And it's like, great, okay. But it's so annoying that there's no like, there's no archive. Like these things aren't saved. So I've actually started, I guess it's illegal, but just like if I like something, I download it. Like I will record that shit just for my personal. It's the police.
Yes.
Like, yeah, I will just have a personal like store on my laptop and Dropbox and everything, because I'm like, this might not exist. I know producers who made pieces from 20 years ago and they just didn't think to save them. They can't find their own pieces. Like their own pieces don't exist to them because they haven't saved them. So it's like, yeah, I basically have started archiving myself, which I feel good about.
Do they not have anything in is it the audio library or sound archives in King's Cross or something? I can't remember the actual name.
British Library.
British Library, yeah. Don't they have anything there?
They have a sound archive, but it's not like an archive of not like audio pieces. I think they have a lot of sort of recordings and sound effects and all of those things, but not like, to my knowledge. Maybe they do, but that's the thing. It's like with books, every book that is ever published goes in the British Library. That is not the case with our medium. Like it's it's a different ball game. And so I think we just need to be like, okay, what's the problem? There's not an archive. These things are going to get lost. How can I, on a small level, fix it, save the things I like? It's a tiny, tiny thing, but at least
it's a good conversation to highlight. Definitely, it's you know, it's maybe people don't look at it as they can't make any money or feel it's not really wanted. So maybe people think that they don't need it. I don't know. But it's definitely a conversation to be had on a wider scale.
Yeah. Like, how do we save these things? Yeah.
So you touched upon actually In the Dark, which I wanted to talk about today. You kind of answered it already, but would you like to just elaborate on what In the Dark is and how you got to be a part of it and the work you do?
Yeah, sure. So In the Dark is an audio collective that celebrates stories made with sound in many different ways. One of the ways that it does this is through its school, which is run by Nina Garthwaite, and they have yearly courses, which are amazing. I took basically a variation of that at university, and it's what got me into audio. But we also have events, and that's how it really started, was with its events in 2010. Nina started it. And then when I came out of uni, and Nina was my tutor, I was really looking for, I just was very, very hungry.
Mm.
And I feel like when you're hungry, you need to also meet people who are hungry, because otherwise you meet people who are like experienced or set up, and they just like, as I've experienced like in different phases, they don't care as much, like they don't
Yeah.
need it, and so they're not really gonna like, they just don't want what you want, which is fine. And so I was finding that like I was meeting some really amazing people, but they had like built their careers already, and so they didn't. So I just felt like the annoying like puppy at their side, like
Mm.
chewing their trousers. And anyway, so Nina could feel that I had all of this like pent up energy, and she just kept saying like, "Oh, you would have loved In the Dark. You would have loved In the Dark," which at that point had been on hiatus for about a year or two, just because she needed a break from running the events. And then I just kept basically, to continue the puppy metaphor, just like clawing at her and being like, hey, when are you gonna start it again? Until she was like, look, why don't you do it? And
Yeah.
I didn't know any better, so I said yes, and I'm so glad that I did. So I've been doing it for about 3 years now, and I run almost monthly events in London, and I've also taken it abroad. And basically what it is each month a different curator comes in, and chooses a theme and curates different audio pieces around that theme. But it's a very open format. So if they want to do something else, if they want to do a performance instead, or as well, if they want to play some of their own work, if they want to do something experimental, a bit more musical, whatever they want, like my job is to facilitate that and to help with that. So I'm kind of the producer slash like curator of the curators. And yeah, it's a pretty amazing thing. Like it's very simple, but I love it. I think listening together is not that common, not listening to at least audio art. Film has cinema, music has concerts, but audio doesn't really have a live counterpart or thing to come together with. And so yeah, people listening together in a room. I've said a lot, but I could just say people listening together in a room. But yeah, I'm actually leaving In the Dark next month. So this is my last.
Forever?
Well, it's so hard when I'm like, I'm leaving In the Dark. It's like, I will never actually leave In the Dark. I will always like be part of it. I'll always be part of the courses and like do the odd event, I'm sure. But I think this phase of my life when I'm so intense, like it's such an intense part of my life, and I'm a big part of the London events. I think that is probably over for now. I think it's just time for like, I think it's always, the beautiful thing about In the Dark is like, it takes these different forms when different people get involved, and it always reflects the people who are building it. And I think it's a good time. I don't want it to be too much in my vision. Like, I think it's a good time for other people to come in and shape this thing that's so beautiful and malleable into what they want. And also it's a good time for me to try some new things. I'm going to clown school this month, so that's one thing.
It's funny you bring up clown school, because on the intro, I was going to put in comedian, and I didn't know if that was appropriate. But you have brought clown up, and I know you do funny sounds, right? And you took that to America, am I correct? as part of In the
Yes, I
Dark?
did.
Are you
Yeah.
still going to
Yeah,
be
I did.
doing Funny Sounds? And can you please explain what it is? Because I still don't. I've never been to In the Dark, and I really want to go, but I don't actually understand what the concept of it is. Please explain.
Listen, come this month. It's so hard to explain, but yes, I will explain. So, firstly, honored that you'd put comedian in. I think it took me
I
like
really wanted to, because I was thinking, I don't know you like that, so I don't know if you're going to be offended. And I never saw comedian in
no,
any bio
please
or anything. I was
say
like,
it in your nice presenter voice. She's a comedian. I will
comedian.
get that recording. I will just play it in my ears at night. I'll be like, Joe says I'm a comedian. No, I think just to stay on the comedian thing, it probably isn't relevant to the recording, but it took me like 3 years to be comfortable calling myself an artist. Like I just was like, who am I to call myself an artist? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Which is so funny to me now, because now I'm like, of course I'm an artist. I never was a journalist. Like it's no one who I know who is a journalist would ever call me a journalist. They would be like, Talia's an artist. So I always was an artist, but it took me a long time to accept that title. And I think, interestingly, I am moving more towards comedy now, just in like, I feel like my brain is always lagging from my body. Like my body is like, we want to go here. And then I'm like, oh, my brain's still like over here. For people listening far away from each other. But anyway, I think I am like, I think that will be my next hurdle, is calling myself something to do with comedy, whether it's comedian or clown or whatever it is. But like, I do think that I'm moving towards comedy for sure. I mean, I'm literally moving to France to study comedy. So it is like, it's not nothing.
So you're going to clown school?
I'm going to clown school, like to study clown.
What does that even look like?
I will tell you in 9 months. Like I don't know. I should really know a lot about it, but I'm just like...
maybe it's good you don't know. So
maybe it's good.
In.
Maybe I've trapped myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
But Funny Sounds is something it was the first ever In the Dark that I curated. I guess this year will be the third. And I just feel like audio doesn't lend itself that well to comedy, like audio only, especially not like audio art and storytelling. There are so many funny people making things, but it's harder to find. I think it's always lended itself to the very intimate, because it's like you're in someone's ear, you're whispering to them. As you know, being a voiceover artist, like it can be so intimate. And I think a lot of people therefore make intimate things. And I think comedy needs an audience. And you don't really know if something's funny unless someone is laughing. That's what I've done some stand-up now. And like, you really need an audience to know it. You can't be in your bedroom just writing things. You need that response. And famously, when you're in a studio alone recording narration or interviewing, you don't really have that response. And so I think people shy away from making jokes, or the jokes don't feel like they land in the same way that they would if they're live. And so I wanted to challenge myself to find funny audio things. And I did, and there's so much out there. I think it is harder to find, I'll say, as someone that's searched for a lot of things. Like, it is definitely harder to find, but it's so amazing bringing these things to an audience, to a live audience, and hearing those like laughs. And so basically that's what it is. Funny Sounds is me trying to find these little funny audio trinkets and playing them to rooms. And I do think, and each year I also do a performance, which have got progressively more insane. Basically, it started with me just like reading a life story and having a PowerPoint. And then last year I was like interacting with the crowd. And this year, I'm not even going to tell you have to come, but it's going to be so strange that I just know my friends are going to be like, what the fuck are you doing? And that's exactly what I want. But yeah, that's Funny Sounds. But I do think that there's a potential that when I come back from clown school, so in like 2027, I might use it as a format. I know it's like such a long time.
I respect it. I respect people for just living their truth. Do it. Yeah. Do it. So when you come back and you could go beep beep on your nose and all that cray crazy stuff, and I want to do that too. Yeah, it's like, you know.
Yeah, maybe I'll start like a wave of audio clowns, and they'll be like, go away.
Oh my
But yeah,
God.
I do wanna maybe do funny sounds as a more regular thing with more like live performances and mixing media and inviting other people to explore like live and sound and all these things, because so many theatre people already use sound in really interesting ways. Like I would consider them sound artists even if they wouldn't consider themselves sound artists. And drag performers, I mean, so much of drag is audio. That's how I actually got into it, being like, oh, this is an audio art form that I want to try. So yeah, I just feel really excited by the possibility of, yes, like keeping audio as the center of what the event is and who I am, but also using it as the springboard to try all these different things like stand up and drag and theatre and clown.
I love that. So recently, as in last year, you made your audio drama debut, am I correct? You're writing and directing, is that correct? Would you like to tell us how that came about?
That came about because a lovely man called James Kim, very talented producer and audio drama writer and director and producer, so fact and fiction, he had heard some of my work actually way before most, like anyone had heard my work really. I remember because I was at Tribeca and I was like, felt very brand new, and I was like, hi, nice to meet you, blah blah blah. And he was like, oh my God, is your name Talia? I heard this piece on like this or that, or like you're amazing, or blah blah blah. And it meant the world to me. Like it, when you feel so out of place somewhere and someone is like, I've actually listened to something you've made, rather than you being like, hello, I've made things, I promise I'm someone. Which, like, you know, it's terrible. No one should feel like that when they go into spaces, but it's human nature that we just like feel a bit shit. But he made me feel really seen and heard, and we sort of developed a friendship. And he kept being like, oh, we should work together. And then he makes this show called You Feeling This with iHeart, and the first season was on the theme of I think it's love and relationships. Maybe cut that if that's not right. But the second season was coming up and it was on the theme of horror. And so he just asked me, would you like to make an audio fiction on the theme of horror? Which scared the shit out of me because I don't consume a lot of horror because it scares me. And two, I'd never made one before and it felt like such a lot of pressure. And it was a great process. I mean, he's so organized. He sent me the spreadsheet of like all the scenes and everything. I was like, oh my God, this is so funny to me, because making an audio, like what's it called? Audio documentary is just like, it's just me working on my own and I'm disorganized and I'll just like pop it all together at the end. And it was really interesting to see a different process. And I went to LA to record it. In the end, however, the one like hitch in my plan was I was really set on the fact that I wanted to write for Brits to perform, because I was like, I just can't write for Americans. I don't understand like the nuances. I don't feel like they understand the nuances of like the tension that happens between British families and people. And so I was like, this is my first one. I just want to write what I know. And so, but he wanted to record it in LA. So I was like, okay, I'll just find Brits in LA. And I I tried so hard to I found like a couple of good actors, but the schedules didn't work. And the amount of, I was like really clear. I was like, I want like actual British people, like please not people putting on a British accent just because I knew. I was like, I just don't want to. And the amount of reels I got in, like bless them. I know it's hard. Like it's really hard out there. I'm not blaming like the actors. However, I did listen to quite a lot of funny hellos and like, how are you doing? And that was rough. That was really rough because like, so I ended up actually just recording it in LA. In the UK, in London, in my house, because we didn't have any budget for anything, because it was meant to be in LA. It was meant to be part of this like. So did you record? Were you meant to record on location, or was it meant to be studio based? It was meant to be studio. Okay. But I was like, okay, it's gonna be in my house, and I'm gonna get a friend who's a boom op to come, and I got a friend. Like, everyone was paid, but so we had some budget, but it just wasn't like they had the studio basically for a week, and so we couldn't use that in LA, and so we couldn't use that. So yeah, and I got actually from an audio piece I'd heard by Chris Attaway with his partner Beth Lewis. Was actually, it's her writing and her acting and recording. It was like a fictional satirical piece on the housing crisis. It's called Hannah by Chris Attaway and Beth Lewis. Really recommend anyone listen to it. I think it's one of my favorite pieces. It's so fucking funny and devastating, like most of Chris's work. And I was like looking for a lead for the woman in my piece, and it's about a woman who has a complicated relationship with her mother, who has Alzheimer's and dementia, vaguely based on my experience as a carer for someone with Alzheimer's and dementia, very, very vaguely. And anyway, I was just like, I knew I wanted her because she's not a professional actress in any way, but she's so incredibly talented. And I knew she would like really give it her all, and she did. And it was amazing to work with her. And then, found a few other actors for the smaller characters. It was very surreal. I found it a lot harder to write fiction because you just have a blank page and it's like anything could happen. Whereas like with documentary, you're reacting to things. And so it's like, if it's not that great, like there's less moving parts, there's less things that you can do. But if fiction is amazing, it's all on you. If fiction is bad, it's all on you. Like there's no stopgap between you and the result. And I think that I found really, really hard. And I'm proud of the result. Like, I think, again, as we spoke about at the beginning, I would change so much if I went back. But yeah, I do think for a first go, like, I'm proud of it.
Would you do it again?
I would love to try it. Not yet. I'd love to try it. I'd love to try more. I'd love to try more. But like, it was fucking hard. It was so hard. Yeah, I would. I mean, if someone gave me the opportunity, yes, for sure. But like, I'm not going to go out searching for it yet. But yeah, I also like, if I'm going to go into comedy and writing, like maybe I need to, try more things like sketch and comedy and theatre and stuff. So I'm not saying no to it, but I definitely, it was further out of my comfort zone, but I do like going out of my comfort zone. But I think I need to gradually build myself back up again. Yeah. What's your experience with audio dramas?
Well, I've been behind the mic and in front of the mic, so I've kind of experienced both sides. I tend to enjoy the creative side of it more, because I like to tell stories, and that's something I want to do more of. And that's initially why you came across my radar in the beginning anyway, because I wanted to find more audio artists and people like that, and ways to put product out there and show the world. But yeah, it is difficult. It's a lot of spreadsheets, a lot of scheduling, a lot of organizing, which
I couldn't believe it.
A lot. Like, and especially the bigger the production, the bigger the spreadsheets get. And then when you're booking studios, and it's a business. Like, as much as you want to be creative, when you do it by yourself, you have to factor in the business side of things. How much money do I have? Like, can I even get people in? And even if I get friends in, I still need to pay them. And it's a lot. And that's kind of the one thing I hate about it, because you can't just be free.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. I do like audio drama a lot. It's a very interesting meet.
Yeah. I also think it's one of the hardest mediums to get right, because when I was writing it, I was like, oh, how do we convey this like clue or something? And in a film, you could just subtly build up these shots, or a reveal. But in an audio drama, everything needs to be language and said, and it's just like, oh, this over there. And it's like, that's why a lot of audio dramas do seem
you have to kind of tread this fine line, because you can't
100%.
give too much away.
Exactly. When they're good, they're so incredible and so clever. Like, but I think, I don't know, maybe this isn't true, because maybe I haven't worked in film, so maybe if I ever work in film, like whatever you work in is the hardest thing, right?
Yeah, of course.
But I just think a good film is easier to make than a good audio drama. And like a great audio drama, like you have to be like such a fucking genius to pull off, because there's so much that needs to happen in just this sound world. And but when they're great, they're amazing and so clever.
And
I don't know if you listen to
the sound designers, they are so amazing at what they do. Like
100%. Yeah, 100%. Because it's so, even with documentaries, I watch visual documentaries, and sometimes if I close my eyes, you actually notice the audio is so trash, but like like the clips, like the everything. But because we've got the visual, it like has this like paint brush over everything that doesn't matter. But I feel the same about radio drama, where I'm like, this has to be so convincing, like the footsteps, the Foley, the everything has to be so convincing to trick your brain into imagining this. Like the suspension of disbelief, like I feel like is so much higher in audio drama than it is in film. Like in film, a visual, all you need to do in a TV show is like cut to the shot of the outside of the building and you're there. Like that's all you need to do. With an audio drama, like you really need to change scenes, to do everything. I didn't realize this until I was writing this. And then James was like, how are people going to know we're not in the kitchen anymore? And I was like, I have no fucking idea. Like, that's such a good question.
Yeah.
It was really hard, but amazing. And I loved working with James. Yeah.
No, amazing. What sound inspires you?
Ooh. That's a great question. I feel like I'm most inspired. I feel like I have most of my ideas when I'm on a train, when I'm on a plane, or when I'm in the shower.
Okay.
So maybe those sounds. But I have a feeling it's not to do with the sounds. It's to do with the fact that like I'm less on my phone. Okay. But maybe if I wanted to trick myself, I could turn on the shower and the ideas would come. Maybe I will test it out and let you know. But what sound? Also going on walks, I feel like the sound of like less things, like the sound of birds and nature and stuff. I feel like that makes me feel really. But again, maybe I'm working backwards from like I go on walks when I need them and when I want to be away from my technology a bit. But I think those things inspire me. Yeah. Does that count? What sound inspires you?
I was going to say something, but it's that, no. Why am I lying to myself? I was going to say birds chirping in the morning, but that's a lie.
Yeah. You're like, no, it's my phone buzzing.
Yeah. I asked that question, but I didn't have an answer myself. My thing is more, I said birds chirping because it's morning related, but it's more just a feeling for me, not really a sound. Yes. I think I like the morning. Like first thing in the morning when you got a sunrise and it's cold and it's misty outside. That's what I like.
100%.
Like, just that feeling, and whatever sound you can, if you can take a sound bed from that, then that's what it is. That's what it is.
100%. I always feel more creative in the mornings. I feel like I wake up and I'm like buzzing with ideas, and I feel, I often will wake up with ideas and have to write them down immediately, and then they make no sense when I look them back because they're like half dreams and stuff. But I love that feeling of like fizzy morning energy for sure. I
love that. Awesome. Okay, but one more thing before we go. I just want you to tell the world what's next for you, or what it is that you want to achieve. It's not no resolution stuff, it's just what's next for you.
Yeah. Well, what's next is clown school. So I want to
I love this.
I finish
can't wait.
That.
You have to please document this, please.
Oh, you know I will. I can't not. It's so funny though, because there's like a big rule on the contract you sign being like, you cannot record yourself while you're here. Like outside the school you can, but it's so clear that every person in the world is like, I'm gonna go to clown school and
Clown
record
school
my
and record
journey,
it.
and
Yeah.
like everyone's gonna, yeah. And so they're like, don't do this. And I'm like, oh, I'm such a basic bitch. That's what I wanted to do. But yeah, what's next is clown school. I think that really comes from an energy of like listening to my instincts and body and what I'm interested in, even if it doesn't make that much sense. So I'm at a time right now where I have built a decent audio career and could probably like stay in that and focus on that and just like double down on that and hopefully, be successful in that. But instead, I'm like really craving these things all the way over there. And I don't know why. And it's not logical, but I think what I want to do ultimately, whether clown school fails or whatever direction I'm taken in, is allow myself to move in ways that aren't always logical and follow what I want to do. And that comes with a lot of privilege of being able to move in a direction that I want to and, take 9 months off work to go to clown school. Like I'm very, very lucky to be able to do that. And I know, I don't want to just say that flippantly of like, do whatever you want to do, because I'm lucky to be able to do that this year. But I do want to not go off logic, but go off what my sort of internal desires are pushing me towards. Yeah.
Lovely. Well, I wish you the best of luck. I'm sure it'll be great.
Thank
and
you.
I hope to see you at the next In the Dark, the final one, as you said.
Yes,
that'd be amazing.
come. It's going to be so strange. And then you're probably going to scrap this interview because you're going to be like, we can't, like this freak is not going on the podcast.
No, don't be silly. No, like I said, I've wanted to speak to you for a very long time. I'm glad we made it happen, especially before you go away.
Yeah.
So, like I said, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for asking.
And good luck with everything in the future. Thank you for everyone listening. And until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.